Beautiful tribe. It is Tuesday, November 12th, 2024, and it's time to vibe with your tribe as we flow through these small waves of energy before that huge tsunami wave of energy comes flowing in the latter part of November. It's about to get really interesting and pretty intense, to say the least, especially when we step into the year 2025. Hold on tight, friends. That roller coaster is about to take off. Now, the elected new president, DT, is now picking his cabinet members. But will he once again pick sheeps and wolves in sheep's clothing? I dyslexia switched that around a little bit. But is he going to do that again? Is he going to pick wolves in sheep's clothing like he did in the past presidency was the word I was looking for? Will he fulfill my visions that I had in channeled predictions back in late 2023 of seeing people being rounded up on buses and seeing people being arrested? So is that even related to the United States? It's kind of sounding like it could be so. And how is this going to work out when it comes to resistant states in cities who say they're not going to allow a roundup to happen? Like I said, friends, it's going to get real. And are they going to allow the inauguration to happen? They going to try to stop Trump? You know they are. How's that going to work out? Because my vibe for 2025, early 2025, is starting off the year in chaos. Could that chaos kick off right here in the United States of America? Now, some people claim that he's going to release the secret files related to JFK, 9/11, and even the Epstein files. Could this be so? Could this be true? I received some details from Spirit myself that I'm going to share with you when it comes to the release of all this information. And what's going on over there in our friends in the UK, the United Kingdom? They're now literally locking people up for Facebook posts. And they have literally ripped away their freedoms of speech. The same push is going on and coming to Australia as well. But how much and for how long is it going to be for the people to stand up for the constant, consistent destruction of our freedoms and our rights, our human rights? Will civil war break out in the United Kingdom or here in the United States? Not just for parts of Europe, but how about, again, right here in the United States of America? Because, as far as the other side is concerned, they're going to do everything, even if it does bring civil unrest, to make sure he doesn't get inaugurated on the 20th. So, also, remember my vision of stars falling off the flag. Could this be coming up in the near future? Could Trump be responsible for breaking apart the unions? We're going to find out, and I'm going to talk about that today. And what's up with that X post put up the day after the election by Elon Musk? Was he trying to tell us something? He usually is in some kind of a way, right? This could be kind of concerning. I'm going to show you that if you missed that tweet, because I went to go search for it, and man, that guy tweets an awful lot. Or should we call X's an awful lot? Weird, isn't it? Twitter, it's still tweeting. No matter what they say, it's still sending out a tweet. So why are there hundreds of FEMA trucks, hundreds, friends, over 350 actually to be exact, stationed now in a small Michigan town? And what they're calling a staging. What the heck are they staging, friends? What the heck are they staging? Another man-made disaster, perhaps? And what are they expecting? Or what are they planning? Are they expecting or planning something? And why Michigan, of all places? We're going to address that today, especially for our friends in Michigan that might not be aware of this. And a major volcanic eruption occurred, just as Spirit told us it was going to, in Indonesia. The footage was quite spectacular. And Spirit warned of multiple eruptions, if you recall, multiple eruptions, that each eruption would mark off a time of a major world events. So could this eruption that we just saw in Indonesia be a sign of something bigger coming our way? Not only did it erupt once, it erupted, I believe, a total of 4 times in a row. That's saying something right there. It caused the shutdown of airports, the delays of flights. Everything that Spirit told us was going to happen just happened in Indonesia. And coming up, could there, of course, be more volcanic explosions, eruptions, for perhaps maybe it'll be Mount St. Helens, as I also speculated in past predictions. And recently, experts also are speculating that Mount St. Helens is getting very restless right now. So, Spirit told us that a large eruption was coming to the United States of America. Is it on its way? We're also seeing quite an uptick in earthquake activity, with earthquakes hitting Cuba, a place that I pointed to in the map for earthquake activity. They also just got hit pretty hard with Hurricane Raphael, which finally broke apart and dissolved, thankfully. We saw earthquakes happening all over the place in the past week. So the uptick in earthquake activity is definitely happening, as it always does right before we step into that retrograde cycle, that 8-week-long cycle that we stepped into on November 7th. And it's going to get really intense when we hit November 25th. Also, did you know that with all these volcanic eruptions, that a strange comet in the sky all of a sudden became way brighter and much larger after the volcanic eruption? And it seems that that's not very long after we heard about the whole Devil's Comet thing. Is this a sign of the times? A big sign of the times? Volcanic eruption actually making something appear bigger and brighter in the sky is pretty fascinating to me, to say the least. So again, are these signs for what's ahead? I say definitely without a doubt. Lots to discuss today, friends. Lots to discuss with some new predictions, quite a list of new predictions to feed that there prediction addiction of yours on this episode number 142 of Tuesday's Prediction Update. And y'all know what time it is.
It's tea time, baby.
Beautiful souls, beautiful tribe, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT. I welcome you with open air hugs, baby. Welcome to our Tuesday podcast, where every Tuesday we have some tea and we talk about world events and how they may or may not relate to predictions and prophecy with new predictions every Tuesday. Remember, this show's not all about predictions. Again, it's about world events and how they're affecting everything, and predictions, again, past predictions and those coming into the near future. That's what we talk about every Tuesday. So if you want to vibe with the tribe, you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, be sure to smash that there subscribe, the bell, and all, so that you get notifications. And down below in the description, you will find the links to my free newsletter. Check that out. And in that last newsletter from November, you'll find information on how to access early access to my 2025 World Prediction Forecast and Predictions, a 3-hour live event on Zoom. You can participate in that. And I thank all the supporters, the members of the communities, the Awaken Your Spirit community on Subscribestar, the YouTube community, and all those that support this channel and make this free content possible for everybody else. I thank you with infinite loving gratitude. Also, be aware of scammers on platforms like TikTok, of course, and Instagram and Facebook that send you direct messages on those platforms that appear to be messages from me. They are not messages from me, friends. I don't have time and I don't even bother with those platforms, very rarely. So you're not going to get any messages from me. So report those profiles immediately. No need to email my office and tell us about it. It happens on a daily basis, unfortunately. So be aware, report those profiles. The more that report them, the more we can take this stuff down. Finally, if that's even possible. Let us move on to episode number 142 of Tea Time, baby. Last week on the 7th of November, we had the kickoff of the Mercury retrograde pre-shadow in the sign of Sagittarius. Did you feel that come rolling in? Because I noticed immediately on the 7th, because my clients were having issues, slight technical issues. Because it's only the pre-shadow, we're only slightly stepping into it, but we still just stepped into it regardless, and wait until it goes direct, because we haven't even gone direct yet. That's going to happen on the 25th of November through December 14th. That first 2 weeks of December is going to be wild, friends. Putting together my December forecast is going to be really interesting, to say the least, as well. And the post-shadow When we step into that on the 15th of December, that doesn't end until January 3rd. So as I said before, the year is going to go out with a bang. Many big bangs, to say the least. Yesterday, on the 11th of November, we had Venus entering into the sign of Capricorn, which brings with it the shift towards practical love and to commitments, friends. Big commitments. A perfect time for us to focus on building lasting connections with others, set clear boundaries when it comes to your relationships. And remember, Venus in Capricorn is going to encourage us to assess what really truly matters to us in our lives when it comes to love, finances, and all your creative projects. This is a perfect time to ignite new creative projects, friends. And coming up on Friday, this coming Friday, the 15th, we have a very powerful day coming in with both the Saturn direct and the full moon in Taurus. The bull-headed Taurus, friends, and with every full moon, always welcomes in intense energies. So these cosmic energies that come in on Friday the 15th, Saturday for some, depending on where you are in the world, this is going to intensify because as Saturn goes direct into Pisces and the full moon illuminates in the sign of Taurus, it's really going to intensify things. And this very powerful combination of the two is going to highlight stability, discipline, and responsibility. You may see a lot of people slacking in their responsibilities. That's going to become more apparent to us, even when it comes to us slacking in our own responsibilities. The Taurus full moon is all about inviting us to release, of course, like all full moons, release anything that needs to be released, especially anything that disrupts your inner peace. Again, reassess your relationships and do so with material security. Spend some time celebrating your achievements, and remember to nurture what brings the most sense of comfort and value to you and your life. The Saturn direct could also have you feeling a bit of renewal, a sense of purpose, a sense of clarity regarding your long-term goals, and revolved around all of that. So take advantage of this full moon coming up on Friday and the energy of Saturn going into the direct. It's going to be wild, friends. It's going to be a good wild. So make sure you light a candle. Do some things to help you promote those energies. And let that creativity light within you begin to shine. Get out there, do new things, creative things. And remember that Mercury retrograde is going to go direct on the 25th. So get things in order now, friends. Get everything in order. Make sure your vehicle's up to par. Your tires are good. Make sure everything's up to par before we go into that direct retrograde. We're already in the pre-shadow. So Virgos and Geminis always feel it because Mercury rules over those signs. And of course, Sagittarius is getting the blunt of it right now as well. And that doesn't mean just if your sun sign is Sagittarius. What if your moon or your ascendant is one of those signs? Virgo, Gemini, or Sagittarius. It's always important to know what your rising and your moon and really your whole chart states and says. You can go online and find places to do your chart for free. Of course, it's a basic chart, but it still shows you everything in your chart that's significant. You should check that out and Google it or DuckDuckGo it, better yet. So get things in order, friends. Declutter things. Do it now while you can. Clear out things that you don't need anymore. And know that when it comes to glitchy electronics and things going haywire and such, it's a retrograde. You just got to bear through it. And know that it too will pass. But there's definitely going to be major glitches. If I saw it the very first day with clients, and it's only the pre-shadow, I can't even imagine what the direct's going to be like. I'm glad I'll be on holiday that week. Well, partially on holiday that week. So with that said, also expect there to be huge outages when it comes to cell towers, electronics, platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and X, even TikTok outages, and even glitches in the markets when it comes to the stock markets when this direct energy comes rolling in on the 25th. Although I do feel that we could also witness these outages and even cyber attacks as soon as the next week, before we actually even go direct, friends. So keep your eyes and be mindful of that. And if there's an outage, again, no, it'll come back on eventually. eventually. But most certainly, the end of November into mid-December, expect lots of outages, lots of problems, and even storm outages and early snowstorms coming in as well, is what Spirit just said, by the end of this month in early December. I hope they don't come here. So speaking of December, I stated earlier this year that December and the year 2025 is going to go out with several huge bangs. So we have the Mars retrograde that comes in early December, I think around the 5th or the 6th. This is bound without a doubt, friends, to escalate things when it comes to the current conflicts in Europe and the current conflict in the Middle East, along with igniting a new conflict, something different. Maybe likely the conflict with Iran. But I also feel tensions building between North and South Korea. And North Korea wanting to be bullies because now that they got Russia and China behind them. And I believe we'll see that come 2025. Maybe not by the end of this year, but definitely within 2025. Now, Spirit tells me that Trump is planned to be the fall guy when it comes to many things that are happening in our future. If they actually don't prevent him from being inaugurated, which they won't do. They'll try, but they won't be successful. Blame him for everything that they already plan to do to America and the rest of the world, not just America. And I still strongly feel, as I predicted several years ago, that Harris is going to be sworn in before the reign of Biden comes to a close. I stated that she would be sworn in for a very short period of time, and I said this 4 years ago. This time, I'm still getting it, and the time is right now at that point of being very short time already. And there's talks by, supposedly, the Dems are talking that they're trying to talk Biden into stepping down to make Harris the first female president, trying to convince him that'll be his legacy. You turned it over to a woman. You're a feminist, kind of like that. So, and that's also to help them plan for the next elections and perhaps the next elections, or even most certainly the next elections, but maybe also what's coming up in January. Crazy, friends. We also just had, since the month kicked off, some quite large and significant solar flashes that came rolling in to our planet Earth. And Spirit shows me that there is going to be much more coming, of course, especially in the year 2025. And in 2025, that's when we're going to see it on a much larger scale. And that's when we're going to see it have an impact on electronics, some satellites, and some infrastructure. So expect both solar activity to ignite and earthquake activity to surge over the next few weeks, likely kicking off before the full moon coming up on Friday. So I'd say kicking off first thing tomorrow. Energies are rolling in. So is he going to be the fall guy? The Fall Guy. Remember that movie? What was that? A television show, The Fall Guy. So many are still in shock over this whole win. And not only that, some are literally having social media mental breakdowns. It's been interesting to see some of them. And some claiming it was all rigged. But we hear that after every single election, friends. Go back in time. I remember hearing that after every single election. It never fails. So, and this is not new at all of making those claims, as Spirit told us long ago. This has all been arranged, all of it, the way the global elite and their dark overlords want it to be arranged. Ever since the takeout of JFK, basically the CIA has been running everything from underground. The dark underground governments. They do exist. And all those things that were called conspiracy back in the day are now no longer conspiracy. That's why I am a conspiracy realist, not a theorist. Because those theories always become out to be real. So let's be realists instead. We all know what's really happening. So since that whole JFK thing, Spirit showed me this, 10 years ago. And it's always been controlled and orchestrated the way they want it to be controlled and orchestrated. And, we know that they want, craziness and chaos in the United States. They want to take down the United States, the dark evildoers, more than anything. With that falls everything else. Now, remember what Spirit told us about as far as economic situations are concerned, that it would be the euro that would fall first. And that's when we really got to get our stuff in order quickly. Pull your money out and get stuff in order when you see the euro begin to fall. Now, I know we have a lot of people here that are part of our tribe that, depend on that euro. When? No doubt within the next 2 years. And I figured it would have fell by now, and the markets are way up, actually, which is pretty crazy. But October, we look back at October and reflect that over the next year. And once the tariffs are put on, and these big tariffs, there's going to be major trade wars. That's going to ride everything up. That's not going to drive the dollar up. It's going to drive it backwards. And it's going to continue to go backwards. It's going to continue to dribble backwards. And remember the whole cryptocurrency thing. People think it's all the savior for the economy, and that's exactly what they want you to think. Because once they get you locked into Bitcoin and into their digital system, then you're marked like the beast. Where was I? Before I went off on my tangent there. We were talking about, Oh, and also they're not going to let a woman win. The people that run everything, they're all men with narcissistic men with egos. They are not going to let a woman in there. Not yet. It's going to be the good Lord that's going to allow it to happen in the future. I told you, 2028, that's when we'll see a woman go in the White House. And it's going to be a battle between women more than we've seen in the past with battle between men. May the greatest woman and the best woman win in that one. Because I could see Harris coming back and rising up again, especially being if they hand her the reign of the White House before the end of Biden's administration, which I still, again, strongly feel they're going to do. And then she'll be the one to go gung-ho, calling insurrection and disqualifying Trump from the election. That won't work out because that would drive the whole country crazy. Look at all the votes. What was it, like 80 million votes? Almost every single state except for, 12 states? 13 states or something were red. Crazy. The whole thing's crazy. It's interesting to watch. It's quite a clown show, to say the least. So not only that, but why make Trump the fall guy? Why him? Well, first, he's a huge supporter of Israel, right? Huge supporter. And no doubt the dark overlords want more conflict in the Middle East. They want to push that prophecy into fruition. They know the prophecies. So more profits for them in their pockets when there's conflict. Remember, they're invested in all these big, military weapons companies and such, which continue to go up in value. And they don't care about the loss of human life that's involved, especially when it comes to Iran. Iran is in their scopes, according to Spirit. Well, we know that. You don't even need to be psychic to figure that or need the spirits to tell you that. It's been in their scopes for a while, and it would not have mattered who won the election. Wouldn't have mattered at all when it comes to the coming future conflict with Iran, because it is coming. It is all part of the agenda, and that would be a very bad agenda to make happen. So we have to hold in the light that doesn't happen. Remember, the presidents bow down to the dark overlords. They sell their soul once that inauguration happens. So if they want conflict, the dark overlords, they get conflict, as we see. But that has to happen also until people get fed up with it and awaken. And we see people becoming fed up with it, getting tired, especially the younger generations, and they're going to be the ones that are going to step up. I know they might seem like they're slacking off now, but they're going to be the ones to step up in the end of it all. And I expect the conflict in the Middle East to get much, much worse towards the end of this month, and more so come the second week of December. And this could be a time where we see some type of new weapon being launched, or even, sadly, the use of a small nuke that's coming sooner or later. At this point, it sadly appears it's going to be much sooner than it will be later. Remember, I saw the explosion in Tel Aviv in my visions. I saw a vision of somebody with a little briefcase and hiding it, a little bag and hiding it with that explosive device in it. And it felt like it was radiation related, because I saw people with burns. Let's hope that doesn't come into fruition. That's something we could very well see come the month of December. Definitely in 2025, no doubt about that. Because remember, that 9 vibration is about endings, and unfortunately, that does include the endings of innocent people, unfortunately. It's all about that vibration. And then December, Just so much going on. Mars retrograde, Mercury retrograde, and just craziness. So that's a time where we could really see some things going on. Not only there, but also in Europe between Russia and the Ukraine. Because Spirit shows me that's super escalating now. You think it would calm down after, the elections, but it actually got worse. And Putin's going to do everything possible to take as much land as he possibly can before the new presidency comes into play. And remember the reading I did on that a long time ago, a couple years back. I did a card reading on it, actually, and Spirit said that Putin would end up with new land and claiming new land, which he has. He lost, and then he claimed more, and then he lost it, but in the end of it all. And I do believe that 9 vibration coming into 2025 of endings, hopefully very well will end the conflict that's happening in Europe. It's not going to end what's happening in the Middle East. That's just going to escalate because Iran's not backing down. And they're already planning things with Turkey and other countries, probably Iraq and Afghanistan. Putting together an army in the desert is what Spirit shows me and showed me in the past. So do not be surprised at all to see this big shakeup at the White House begin by Biden going out and Harris going in. That would be a big shakeup. Followed by Harris declaring war with Iran and with Israel. Not with Israel, but you know what I mean. With Israel claiming war on Iran together with Israel. And that should that would not be until they launch a flag that flies ever so falsely, friends. The flag that ever flies ever so falsely would be what happened first. Likely would be some type of major fear attack on America that gives reasoning behind such conflict. Like they kind of did back in 2001. So regardless of how they will initiate conflict with Iran, I do see a huge jump in the prices of crude oil, moving towards a possibility of $200 or more per barrel. That's a lot. And this could come by mid to late 2025, summer months. Spirit said summer months. But in some places, like United States, I see gas prices actually going down. So I think it's Europe that's going to have the big issues when it comes to energy, because I see major energy issues sweeping across Europe in 2025. This includes folks lining up and waiting hours in line for gasoline. And there's going to be some type of shortage on fuel coming to Europe and even in China. So I don't know what's going on with them, but they got coming energy shortages as well. And we don't want that for anybody, especially China, because that'll just give them more reason to try to take Taiwan or whoever else they can. And speaking of the markets, since the election, cryptocurrencies literally skyrocketed, along with many stocks as well. Bitcoin went up over 10 grand in like 6 days. It went, I forget what it was at, but it was in the 70,000s and went up to $87,000 per coin. I went the day of the election and threw just a couple $100 in there, just a couple $100 into Bitcoin. I made like $50 off that couple $100. Couldn't believe it. That fast. In 6 days, I cashed out today. That should tell you something. Remember, I'm not a financial expert, but my intuition said put it in and take it back out again. Make your little bit of money. I wish I would have put more in, but I don't mess with that stuff usually. But I'm going to start looking into it much more closely. But the thing we all should be looking into, again, is Spirit's been telling us for 10 years now, silver and gold, silver and gold. And if you would have taken that advice, you would have made a lot of money. See, when Spirit first told me that, I didn't have money to go buy gold and silver. Now I've been buying gold and silver for a while now, since last year. And eventually it will go up really high. It's the best long-term investment, Spirit said, was silver. People think gold. And yeah, gold's great, but not everybody can afford to buy gold. I mean, I remember I bought a little gram of gold and it was like $100. So not everybody can do that. So it's not worth it. And another thing I saw with experts, guys showing, Because I was buying the little bullion, the little 1 ounce bullions, and I saw an expert say they're great to have, of course, if it came down to having to barter with somebody or trade for somebody or to buy something. But when it comes to the long-term investment, he said it was better to buy big bars, big 10 ounce or 20 ounce bars. So I just ordered a couple 10 ounce bars, a few. But I thought that was interesting he said that. Harder to unload the little ones or something like that. They're great for barter. So I have enough little ones. So I guess it's time to go for the big ones. And remember what Spirit said to me today with Bitcoin. That's why I cashed out. What goes up will go down. And it'll go down again. So now I thought it was interesting. You know, Larry Fink, who is the CEO of BlackRock, who owns the world practically. He said in a statement that it does not matter who wins the election. Because Wall Street's going to be the real winner. Interesting. And did you know that 93% of stocks are owned by the 10%? You know, the elite. 93% of stocks. And Larry Fink says it's going to be Wall Street that's going to be the real winner. I see big drops in Wall Street coming. Huge drops in Wall Street. Look, that's the other thing. The markets have been up so high and been breaking record after record. That's got to fall eventually. The dollar is weak. It's going to fall. Next year is a 9-year of endings. It makes the perfect time. It begins this year. We are in the 8 vibration this year, so that can make total sense for the markets being up. But again, they got to go down come that 9 vibration. Have to. And BlackRock owns $20 billion in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to be the back end of what the governments want to put in their currencies, their digital currency. And Bitcoin's going to be a part of that. A lot of the other ones are going to be wiped out completely over the next 3 to 4 years, according to Spirit. So, you know, if you're playing around with cryptocurrencies, play around now, but don't play around for too long because it's all going to disappear when they come in and step in and try to take it all away and only leave ones like Bitcoin or whatever. Not only that, Spirit shows me, and I said this with the whole Sam dude that took everybody's money. I said that was going to happen. I saw visions. I said they're putting all their money in and they're going to run with your money. And he ran with everybody's money. That was a big one. Well, I see that happening again soon. This might even be in Canada, actually, or at least the person that is in charge of that crypto going to jail or going on the run. You know, and Blackstone and BlackRock and all of its affiliates owns and manages more housing than anyone in the world. They are the world's largest landlord. So riddle me this, Batman. Change the subject for a minute. I'll go back to the housing market in a minute because it is in my specific predictions, I believe. Somewhere I have it here. But I want you to riddle me this, Batman. And what was posted on X platform the day after the elections by Elon Musk. And it is this post here that says, Novus Ordo Seclorum, which is Latin. And many people are saying that this stands for, and you see in there, in his post, is a picture of him. I don't know who the little kid is. I guess it's his little kid on his shoulders. That's Elon Musk in that picture that's posted, standing next to Donald Trump at some kind of party or festival. It looks like they're probably at Mar-a-Lago in that post. And again, everybody is trying to say online that whole statement is a New World Order statement. It's close, but not quite. Novus Ordo Seclorum. Kind of interesting, isn't it? He's an interesting character. While the phrase can be heard in Megadeth's track Washington is Next, it also appears to be on the back of the US dollar bills, and the phrase appears on the reverse side of the Great Seal of the United States. It is coined by Charles Thompson, Secretary of Congress of the Confederation, who took the Roman poet Virgil, given that the phrase was coined in the U.S. context much before Megadeth came into the being. Of course, Megadeth. It is more likely that Musk is making a reference to the U.S. history than the actual metal band. Well, no, he's not talking about the metal band. He's definitely not talking about the metal band. Why would they even think that? I didn't even think that. Didn't know they had a song related to that. But basically what it means, it doesn't mean New World Order. It means New World something, and I can't find it on here. New World Order. Darn, now I can't find it. But it does, it pretty much does, but it doesn't. It's a New World something. New World. And that's what he's basically saying is he believes in his post, the New World, that it's going to be Trump's New World Order. That's basically what he was posting. But many people were concerned about that and concerned that he posted such a thing on his X account. Don't be surprised by anything that man posts. Remember, I told you when I went to Peru and worked with ayahuasca showed me the web of darkness going around the planet Earth. It was soon after that I saw the diagram of all the Starlink satellite systems and what they look like in the sky, and it looks like a literal giant spider web. I take that as a web of darkness. Even though what Spirit was showing me was more of an energetic thing that was happening to humanity and all of us being caught up in this dark web of darkness for many generations in our lifetimes. And now it's a time for us to be cut out of that web of darkness, to awaken and be able to walk once again. And I know that that's what ayahuasca freed me from and helped me be free from, which was really interesting. But then when I saw that and people think that, you know, Elon Musk is some kind of savior or what have you, I don't trust the guy. He gives me bad vibes. There's a bad negative underlying thing. Remember, he's one of the founders of PayPal. We know where PayPal's wandered off. You know, one of the other CEOs of PayPal's the biggest funder of the chemtrail whole thing, you know, pumping stuff in the skies. That's not good to me. You can believe what you want, but I just don't believe it's good. So riddle me that, Batman. Moving on to the truth being revealed. Because 2025 will indeed be the biggest year for truth than ever before. And we must be aware that those who weave this web of darkness are going to do everything possible and anything possible to take our attention away from these coming truths. This includes pumping out a lot of misinformation along with launching global events such as conflicts or fear attacks to steer people's eyes and attention away from these truths. It's not going to work so well in 2025 as it has for them in the past. It's only going to work, according to Spirit, to a small handful of people, according to Spirit. Because Spirit says the divine, our divine creator, the Lord, is going to shine a light, sending these waves of energy in that are going to allow people to see through the lies and through the fake news that's going to be pumped out throughout 2025. So with that said, do you think Trump is going to release the files of Epstein or 9/11 or the Kennedy files as they're trying to claim he's going to do? Well, check out this clip first. I want you to listen to this clip first and tell me what you think.
If you were president, would you declassify, you can answer yes or no to these.
Yeah.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you know, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others.
See how he went and hesitated when it came to the Epstein list? So for the most part, he absolutely will not be releasing the Epstein files. He will likely only release some of the JFK files, and that's only going to be due to Bobby Kennedy's push to do so. He's also he's not going to release, again, the Epstein files. It's not happening. He will claim it's going to ruin too many lives, like you just said in that clip. So he's not going to do it. Lives of people that are supporting him or paid him money to be, for his campaign. Perhaps maybe his own. Who knows? We're not going to know because he's not going to tell us. Perhaps not. Who knows? Like I said. So more likely because the entire Epstein web of darkness is actually, according to Spirit, is controlled by the dark underground snakes within the CIA. They're wrapped up in the Diddy thing too. So I wouldn't expect too much evidence to come out of that either. Spirit shows me that the entire dark government is responsible for spinning these webs of darkness, and they are the real reason behind the entire Epstein thing. It's all a part of a bribery act, according to Spirit. I thought it was so fascinating and interesting. I hope you thought it was fascinating and interesting. Spirits definitely clue us in on some good stuff. So there will be little snidbits of info that are going to be dropped from 9/11 and from JFK. But do not believe anything that is allegedly released around the Epstein files. A lot of fake stuff is coming in 2025. So put your 2020 vision glasses back on your eyes so that you can see through the veil of lies and deception, which I have no doubt people are going to be wearing those 2020 vision glasses a lot more in 2025. And even those who forgot they even had them are going to pick them back up and put them back on again. Remember, that's what 2020 was. It was all about vision, increasing the vision of humanity to see through the lies. And look at how much lies we saw through in 2020. So pick those glasses back up, friends. You're going to need them in 2025. And speaking of lists being dropped, now actor Scott Baio. Did you see that clip? Well, if you didn't, I'm going to show it to you right now. This is Scott Baio dropping the names from his, I don't know where he got this list. He don't explain himself, but this is the alleged P. Diddy list being dropped allegedly by Scott Baio. Check it out.
Robert De Niro, Rob Reiner, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and others. From The View, Rachel Maddow, Mark Ruffalo, Mark Hamill, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Richard Marx, Alec Baldwin, Pink, Ron Howard, Julia Roberts, George Clooney, Leo DiCaprio, Oprah, Cardi B, Lizzo, Ariana Grande, Billie Eilish, Jennifer Garner, J-Lo, Andy Cohen, Cher, Bryan Cranston, Jamie Lee Curtis, Kathy Griffin, Michael Keaton, Rosie O'Donnell, John Stamos, Eva Longoria, John Legend and his wife, Spike Lee, Sean Astin, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Jon Stewart, Bill Maher, Alyssa Milano.
There wasn't really much on that list that we didn't already know, or at least assume was already going to be on that list anyway. So what do you think about Scott Baio naming all these names? I want to know what you think in the comments down below. Because 2025 is certainly going to be a heck of a year for people who have been hiding the truth. You can't hide behind that rock of truth any longer. You're going to be pulled out and your truth will be exposed. And that's what Spirit says. Their truths will be exposed. Speaking of truths, you heard about FEMA, right? FEMA. Fail every MAGA American. FEMA. Fail every MAGA American. Because that's what they did, apparently and allegedly. They allegedly skipped over houses if they had a sign that was supporting the side that they don't want to support. Interesting enough. Also, even more interesting than that, somebody got, this, they say fired, but they didn't get fired. They got moved to a different position so that they're out of the spotlight. So something shady's going on. And then what about people in North Carolina? Now the governor is demanding to find out if they did the same thing to the people in North Carolina. Look at all the people that didn't get help, friends, that still have not received help. What's even more concerning? Why are they now? They said they didn't have enough goods to help people. They didn't have enough to help people. Then why the heck are they suddenly putting hundreds of FEMA supplies at an airport in a small Michigan town? Over 350 vehicles, and they want to build a building to put all their supplies into at an abandoned airport in Oscowa. I think it's called Oscowa. I don't have it written down, but a little town in Michigan, a couple hours from Detroit. So why are they all of a sudden, and they're calling it a staging event? What the hell are they staging, friends? That's right, I said it. What the hell are they staging? They stage a lot of things now, don't they? And all these supplies that they're storing there, but they still aren't helping people in North Carolina. The people in North Carolina need help. You don't have supplies, but you're going to put 350 trucks and build a building for supplies in Michigan? So what are they planning for? What are they staging? Another man-made disaster, perhaps? Are they expecting or planning something? And why Michigan? Of all places, why Michigan? FEMA, no immediate plans to use Oscoda Airport as emergency staging area. This is what they're claiming now. The Federal Emergency Management Agency on Monday has no immediate plans to use an Oscoda Airport as a disaster response staging area for the region. Now, that's this article, but I found other articles that say, and including the actual council meeting. I'm not going to play that for you and bore you with the details, but there's a council meeting. You can go find it for yourself. Matter of fact, I even think I have the tweet right here from it. I believe I do. Right? Actually, it was right on their X page. Why is FEMA staging 350 semi-local trucks and equipment in the Michigan at a decommissioned Air Force base? Emergency simulations pertaining to the 6 specific Michigan counties. And that's what FEMA said. They're staging for the 6 surrounding counties. That's shady. A township meeting occurred in Michigan, and they stated that FEMA will be staging 350 plus semi-trailers of equipment for emergency simulations, specific to 6 unnamed counties. They didn't name the counties. They just said 6 counties. Shady. And this is what the town mayor or whatever said. So, folks, if you happen to see a lot of FEMA trucks coming through here, that's what it is. And it's nothing at all to be concerned or scared about. They are staging for emergency situations in these 6 counties. Why? Why? And they don't tell us what kind of equipment is being staged, for what purpose, what emergency situations are they preparing for. They're not telling us that. They're pretty much not telling us anything, friends, at all whatsoever. So can you say shady? Yeah, there's the link actually to the town meeting. I'm not going to play that for you. I'm not going to bore you with the town meeting. I just told you everything that they just said at the town meeting. So there's no need to go into that. People in Michigan, be alarmed. Be alarmed. I think it's related to a coming earthquake. That's a shaker, big shaker, big shaker. Why would they know a big shaker's coming? How would they know a big shaker's coming? We'll have to see. But prayers to our friends in Michigan, for sure. Let's move on besides FEMA. So is civil unrest on the doorsteps of America and the United Kingdom and perhaps Australia and other countries as well? It almost appears that no matter how many rights and freedoms are stripped away from citizens, they still just sit back and allow it to continue to happen. No one seems to be standing up against it and against the tyranny of these global elites and totalitarian agendas. Except for that guy, what's his name? Tommy Robinson, I think his name is. I love the way they chant his name in the United Kingdom. Well, they threw Tommy Robinson in jail too for speaking up. Now, of course, I'm sure there's people on the other side that'll say, oh, he's dirt or he's trash or he's one of those German N people. Nah. You can see that's what they do. They demonize you when you stand up and fight for your rights. And that's where people watch too much mainstream media and they believe it. And they believe, oh, yeah, he is one of them people. One of them German kind of people with the letter N. So what's going on in the United Kingdom then? Because now they're locking people up like they did Tommy Robinson and locking up other people. I saw videos of people being locked up for silly Facebook posts that have literally ripped away their freedoms of speech and everything else. And they're pushing that in Australia. They're definitely pushing that in Canada. Now, in Canada, to be fair, they are pushing for a ban on TikTok. I'll tell you about that in a minute because they will get rid of it. I predicted that 2 years ago. Bans on TikTok will come into fruition. So we see that happening in Canada now. And Trump finds any connection to China, to TikTok. You could say goodbye to TikTok in America too, friends. No doubt. So going back to the UK and all their rights and Australia and even Canada, how long is it going to be before people stand up to this consistent destruction of our human rights? Stand up. Step in your power, friends. And don't watch mainstream media. It's propaganda, no matter what country you're in. Independent news is the way to go, friends. So will civil conflict break out? Well, I'm not going to call it a civil war as much as I'm going to call it major civil unrest. Major civil unrest is coming. First to the UK, which it's already happening, but also here in the United States, because I see a fight between states. I see people in the streets, chanting in the streets. I see what I saw in the past, fires, big fires in the cities of the United States. I see one city potentially being completely wiped out by fire in the United States in the next 2 years. I remember, speaking of fires, well, let me go back to TikTok for a minute. TikTok, yeah, in Canada, they basically were told to pack up and leave, get the hell out of our country. And then you have people saying, "Oh, that's taking away our freedoms of speech." But I gotta back them up here in the fact that those apps are specifically put out by China to dumb up your country, to dumb up your people, and to put out whatever propaganda they want to put out. So I'm all about that ban on TikTok. It needs to go or change, and they're not going to change it. And that's just, we're all entitled to our opinions. Going back to fires. Remember, I predicted fires for our friends in New Jersey, and New Jersey is burning big time right along the border of New York. I also saw fires right outside of Los Angeles, California, and they are burning, including lots of $1-million homes that burned along with it. So the wildfires are just going to continue, which takes me to the next subject of Earth events, because we just had a major volcanic eruption that occurred, just as Spirit told us it would, right there in Indonesia. The footage or the pictures is pretty spectacular. I don't have any of those here for you today, but you can go look it up on your own. Spirit warned us of multiple eruptions were going to occur. And with each eruption, it would mark off the time of major world events. It's Mother Earth coughing up blood and telling us it's coming. So could the eruption in Indonesia, I got an itch, be a sign? One of these earthquakes that Spirit told us about? I have no doubt. And there's 3 other big ones coming. And now one volcano went off 4 times. And did you see that strange comet that became way brighter? They call it like the city comet or something, the size of a city. Became way brighter and larger after another volcanic eruption occurred. They called it an ice eruption. So not only that, we just saw the devil's comet come right by the sun. And this is all in the prophecies about the comets coming around the sun and all of that. So we're, again, very much in a time of prophecy. And now experts are speculating, as I predicted, the strong potential of an eruption at Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens will erupt again in the near future. Spirit said it. Spirit showed it. It's going to happen. Which is even more interesting, I find, that Spirit was showing me it's going to get cooler out. Even though the temperatures are rising and such, it's going to get cooler. We're going to have cooler temperatures in the future. That's in one of my specific predictions that I'll get to in a few minutes. So now, not only do we have all these Earth events, we have major earthquake upticks happening right now. We had, I think I have the earthquake map here. Oh, maybe I don't. Maybe I closed it. No, I didn't close it. I was looking at that map. I just closed it now. Darn, why'd I do that? Unclose map. Tab. That. So I always, when I go on the earthquake map, I always adjust it to the top last 7 days, 4.5 or higher. And average is usually between 60 and 70 every week. We're up to 100 now. We just hit 100. So there's an uptick, big time, in earthquakes. And one of the areas I pointed to on the map, 2 predictions just came into fruition back to back. First, I saw a major storm and hurricane hitting Cuba. Rafael just ran into Cuba, and then it fell apart afterwards, thankfully for the Gulf of Mexico. They also just had a very big earthquake. Very big. Several big earthquakes that are in the red here. 6.8 earthquake. That's pretty darn big. And that was the first one they had the first one they had was a 5.9. So it got bigger. 6.8. That whole region jumps out at me down along the Caribbean and all that. Big time jumps out at me. And I'm going to say that there's going to be another major earthquake, especially down there between Venezuela and Colombia. I got pulled really strongly to that area of the map. And then earlier today, when I just glanced at this morning, I got pulled over to our friends in Japan. Now, Japan, right in the area that I pointed to on the map, not far from Tokyo, they had a 4.5, nothing really big, just a little 4.5 off the coast there. But I see something bigger coming towards southern Japan. And a big shaking, and Spirit shows me a vision. There's going to be a videotape you'll see on the internet that'll come out with everything shaking. I don't see major damage, just a little bit of damage. But I do see something hitting soon right there and towards southern Japan, southwest of Tokyo. And where else did we have big ones that just hit? We have a lot in the red. I'm surprised. Panama just had a 5.6. Lots of activity down there and around that area of the map. I'm still pulled again between Venezuela and Colombia, those 2 areas. So I tell you, expect a huge uptick, couple of them in Panama. Where was the other one I saw? Peru's had a few in the red. So in the red means it's pretty significant, and so did Taiwan. And Spirit told us Taiwan was going to get one soon. Wasn't big, huge, but still significant. And I will have to work on a weather prediction video, but I'll probably end up saving that for the new year. Not for the new year, but putting it out before the new year for the new year. But that will be a part of my predictions for 2025. So keep an eye out for them. I keep hearing the woodpecker pecking on my house. I don't know what he's pecking at, but I keep hearing him pecking at my house. Woodpeckers are a sign of opportunity will soon come knocking on your door. Just in case you were wondering. The woodpecker tells us opportunity's knocking. Are you answering the door? Funny. He's a loud little guy. I don't know if you probably can't hear it with my microphone. So someone said in my comments, these people crack me up. Trump is responsible for 1,000 missing children in his Trump presidency. Did you know that there are currently, to that person who left that ignorant comment, there are currently over 325,000 missing children that have come over the border since 2020. So 1,000, 325 plus 1,000. Now, I had Vision Spirit showing me major breaks in rescues of the little ones in 2025, and we may actually even begin to witness a big rescue of little ones in December, coming up before the end of the year. The next year will be a year where we will see more rescues of people who have been caught up in traffic than ever before. So that's exciting. That's amazing. And speaking of that, Sheriff Brady, and that his name, Sheriff Brady down there in the South, he just made over 157 arrests right before the elections. This was over maybe a couple weeks ago. And some of those arrests, of course, all with people who were trafficking. 157 arrests, and some of those arrests being connected to people, once again, that work for, guess who? The wonderful world of Disney. Prop 32 there in California, people finally voted against Newsom. Who passed all those laws to allow people to go in and steal whatever the heck they want? Well, that's no longer, because no more theft in California. Goodbye, theft. Lots of people left California just because of that reason, especially businesses that went under because of that reason. I thought that was interesting as well. Let me give you some specific predictions for the coming time. Remember, we're coming in on the end of the year, friends. Less content, more focus on the new year. That's where my mind's been, taking notes, getting things together and gathered. I do that Zoom event December 15th. Be a part of that, support that. Once that's done, I'll put together different videos and then I'll start getting them out there. With the biggest prediction video, of course, always being put out on New Year's Day. Always New Year's Day. It's a tradition. It'll be like 18-year tradition now. Yeah, I think we are on 18 years. Wow, time flies. So, predictions. Over the next few years, as Spirit told us a few months back, our food is going to become a huge focus. I have no doubt that Bobby Kennedy will have his hand in this in some way or another. Everything down to farming, the chemicals used for farming, the way our foods are processed, and we will begin to see truth revolved around our food. That may be quite disturbing. And as Spirit told us, disturbing truths revolved around your foods. And this is going to be uncomfortable truths that are literally meant to shift our consciousness around our food and shift the way we eat, making people more aware of it. We're going to see over the next decade the freezer sections of grocery stores changing quite drastically, even shrinking down in size. People won't want to buy frozen crap anymore. They're going to want to buy good, fresh food. I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing healthier humans. I see huge fires along the Amazon, parts of Brazil, and throughout South America. I see fires igniting in Western Australia, and even problems with fires around the United Kingdom. And I see huge fires sweeping through India. I don't know where, but just and hitting city. Like I see like lots of stuff burning in India. And I believe huge fires in India are coming in 2025, not necessarily in the near future. But I would also not rule it out before the end of this year. The economy is jumping big time right now. Crypto has skyrocketed. Many stocks have skyrocketed. But how long do you think this is going to last? Especially the jump that crypto's just made. All friends, cash in and cash out quickly because I feel a big drop coming before the year. The year goes out with a bang, and bangs cause things to fall, including the markets, including cryptos. I saw silver came down a little bit. That's why I just bought some more. That could also, we'll see that be going down a little bit too. And even in January, markets are going to be all over the place in January in the new year. It's not necessarily going to start off on the right foot in January, especially when we get mid-January, late January with the economies. And Spirit keeps showing me visions. This was interesting, of Niagara Falls. I kept seeing visions of Niagara Falls, and I didn't get anything other than, no information. Just visions of Niagara Falls. So I can only interpret this as there being some type of coming event playing out around Niagara Falls. And it hits the mainstream news, the media. This could even be an issue revolved or arising around the waterfall itself. I mean, I don't know what, but it could be an issue with the waterfall itself, maybe being shut off or shut down. I don't know. Now, my vision was it flowing. All I saw was Spirit kept showing me the Niagara Falls, Niagara Falls. Something's going on there, including a bridge in the area, too. It could be revolved around a bridge in the area, or that could actually be two separate things. A place to keep our eyes on. And if I were to pick which side, I'd say the American side. Because the vision I had looked like, I've been there a few times, and it looked like the vision I was never on the Canadian side, only on the American side. So I would think it's something to do with the American side of the Niagara Falls. So they keep shouting global warming and climate change, but I had this overwhelming feeling this morning that is going to shift, just like the rest of the planet and the climate. I feel cold temperatures are going to come eventually. I don't know when, but I feel cold temperatures are coming, and not just because winter time's coming, friends. Not just because winter. It is going to be a hell of a winter, though. It's going to be a cold winter, not even a hell's hot, so they tell us, which isn't real. But we're not even going to talk about that. So, but in general, in the next decade, I feel a cold spell is going to hit. I don't feel like long term, just a cold spell. And I believe this cold spell is going to make a cool summer. I see a cool summer time coming. And to me, this is likely related to multiple volcanic eruptions that occur and in turn cool down the planet for a year to maybe 2 years. And I feel like this is coming within 2 years. So I see some type of new breakthrough or discovery revolved around Mercury. Not the planet Mercury, not the car Mercury, but the metal Mercury. Spirit kept showing me literally Mercury in a bowl, just spinning it around in a bowl. Spinning it around in a bowl. I don't know why, but that's the way Spirit showed it to me. So when I saw this vision of the Mercury spinning around in the bowl, I had a feeling of excitement. Like, this is exciting. Like, wow, this is exciting. And I don't know why, but Spirit also showed me that Mercury is actually being used right now to power up what we call UFOs. You know, the ones that are used secretly by our governments. We're also going to see the use of Mercury in the future when it comes to free energy systems, which we should start seeing rolling in quickly, and hopefully by 2028 and 2029. Free energies. Remember what Spirit told us. The way the divine plans this is, if you get enough people to come up with an invention at one time, it's going to be really hard for the darkness to suppress it and clear it. Especially with social media and everything, with the internet and all now. If we had 100 people that all invented free energy devices in the same week, they're going to have a hard time shutting that down. And that's how it's going to end up playing out. Because as these ascension codes come in, and as we rise in consciousness, we're going to tap into that infinite wealth of knowledge and wisdom in the universe. And within there, everybody can go and find out how to make free energy. We think it's an idea, but really it's that wealth of information that's programmed into our consciousness that we just can't seem to access right now because we don't have a key to the door. But those keys are going to come to unlock those doors, flowing in through the ascension codes, the flares, and different astrological alignments that are coming up over the next few years. So Spirit shows me that Blackstone, BlackRock, and all its affiliates are hatching some type of a plan to ignite a large land grab, another large land grab, because they did this before, with hopes to break their past record on real estate takeovers. Did you know that Blackstone is currently the biggest landlords owning hundreds of thousands of homes? Yes. And a majority of them all purchased right after the 2008 housing crash. So they are the biggest landlord and also have the biggest eviction rate, evicting more than 350 people from their homes in Florida after they bought them. So what plan are they hatching, friends? What plan are they hatching? Another housing market crash would be the easiest guess. Now, 2008 in numerology was a one universal year. Not that that has anything to do with real estate or economy, although it does represent new beginnings and new starts. So what a perfect year in vibration to buy up as many properties as you possibly can, right? Buy them all up. Buy as many as you possibly can. That would make a whole lot of sense now, wouldn't it? So 2026, we step into that one vibration once again. So I expect something huge to occur with real estate within the next year and a half. Huge enough for BlackRock affiliates to go in and buy up as much as they possibly can. I hear a truck. Spirit shows me that we should soon expect an influx of sky events occurring in the coming weeks. By late November, moving into December, the skies will be filled with odd, unexplainable events. This includes more events revolved around aeroplanes and other flying objects. I saw a vision of an airplane going down along a mountainside. In that vision, I saw debris scattered a mile or longer across. I feel very strange that there may be one single survivor in that crash I saw spread across about a mile. And likely that survivor will be a child. I believe a little girl. And I believe I'm somewhere in South America, but I'm not sure where. And still on the subject of aeroplanes, I also saw a plane being shot out of the sky. But it does not look like a military plane going down in combat. This feels like a targeted fear attack. And I believe this is related without a doubt to the Middle East. This also brings to mind one of my past predictions and visions that I had of seeing somebody smuggle an explosive in the airport with assistance from somebody working at the airport. Remember those visions I had? If I recall correctly, I believe this was somehow connected to Egypt. And it may be where the plane is leaving from. It could be leaving from Egypt. And if this is the case, I feel like the passengers are likely somehow connected to Israel. So let us pray and hold in the light that this plan and agenda is busted by law enforcement before it actually happens. And so it is. So beware of land grabs, Spirit says, and gives me a strong feeling that we are about to witness more land grabs. Some throughout Australia, United Kingdom land grabs, and even here in the United States. Spirit also says to be mindful that this is happening and perhaps ask yourself, why? Why is it happening? Well, I guess they need a place to put all the illegals. So other than that, friends, tried to keep this short. I don't know how short it is, but I always try. It never ends up being that way. I want to leave you with this today. Remember that a ship, not the Titanic because it sunk, but other ships that don't sink. A ship gets us, from one place to the other, right? So with this approaching full moon that's coming our way, and the energies and the retrograde cycles, take a close look at your ships, your relationships, your companionships, your partnerships, and all the other ships that are in your life. And if that ship is no longer taking you anywhere, perhaps it's a time to abandon that ship. Perhaps abandon that ship before it starts sinking, and you end up being the one drowning without a life preserver. So think about that and let that seed grow and be fruitful in your mind and in your life. I am going to leave you with that, friends. I am working on other content before I go on holiday at the end of this month, so keep an eye out for that. Be sure to smash that thumbs up love button so that you don't miss any other future content. Also hit the subscribe, the bell, and all. Also, so you don't miss future content. Always check back and make sure you weren't unsubscribed from this channel, as people mysteriously seem to have happened to them often. Too often. Not very fair at all. Thank you for signing up for the free newsletter down below. And just thank you for your love and support. I couldn't do it without you. And again, I'm going to leave you with that. Until the next time, friends, remember to get out there and let your light shine. Celebrate life. Celebrate you. Be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you. And as my little sign says over my shoulder, remember to be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Let your light shine, baby. Let it shine ever so brightly. And have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste and much love. Much love, friends.